And that's how I got into guns. Wait, I think I jumped the gun on that. Okay, here's basically how I personally got into firearms. Back in, I believe it was 2011, my brother, well, towards the end of 2011, I can't remember exactly when, but it was roughly around when Sandy Hook had happened. And yes, I've got the sub count on the screen, and I'm watching you. Anyways, this is how I got into firearms. My brother had purchased his first, a Glock 19. Well, before we go there, I had never really cared about owning a gun. I mean, growing up, I practiced plenty of self-defense, martial arts. So I was very capable of defending myself and fending off somebody. But at the same time, I'm not a violent person. I attempt to avoid conflict, and I can usually talk myself out of most situations. That being said, the reality of it, if I came across somebody who had a weapon and I did not, and at the time where I lived, I used to take a lot of walks to the store at 1 to 2 in the morning when not the best people were around. What I'm getting into, I was never really pro or anti-gun. I mean, I was pro-gun, but I really didn't really get into the politics of it because I wasn't really a gun person and I just didn't care. But then my brother got his first gun, which is a Glock 19. And we would go shooting with that gun. And it's a great... Going to the range is a great stress reliever, especially when you have anxiety. The amount of stress it just relieves your system is amazing. But we only had the one gun among us. So what he did was we went to the gun store and he put quite a bit of cash down on a new gun for me, which is a Glock 23. I wanted a Glock 17 because that's what I had practiced with because you can rent guns at this place, and I had always rented that, so I got used to shooting it. But unfortunately, because of the whole Sandy Hook thing and all the gun control crap going around, a lot of stuff was backordered and a lot of stuff was just impossible to get at the time. So when we went to the store to buy my gun, that just wasn't... I don't remember exactly why it wasn't an option, because they didn't even have the Glock 23, which is what they offered me or talked me into. They didn't even have that in stock. So when that purchase was made, it was also back ordered, which means even though there was a waiting period or whatever at the time, because they didn't instantly run the background check, you had to pay for the gun, pay for the background check, and you only got the money back on the gun if you didn't pass, which obviously I passed because I'm not a criminal. And once I received the gun, which was 2 weeks later when it finally shipped, because the place they order their firearms from, I didn't ask who it was or what company they got it from. Now, it's a Glock, so obviously they got it from Glock, but I don't know what distributor they went through. But it took roughly about 2 weeks before I had my hands on the gun. And once I got that, me and my brother would go to the range or the Clark County shooting complex way... If you live in Las Vegas, you know where that is. Or if you're an avid shooter, you know where that is. It's way the hell out there. It's an outdoor shooting range. The backstop is basically hills. Well, we would go there and spend hours there. We would go to the gun store. It was a great activity that me and my brother bonded over doing. I mean, we always got along, but it was something we both enjoyed doing. And I got really into that, so I started carrying everywhere I went. In fact, actually, the annoying part is 5 days after I actually got the firearm is when I accidentally discharged it into my hand. And the ironic part about that is I was attempting to remove the firing pin, but you can find that video on my channel as well. But that is actually how I got into firearms. Is my brother purchased his, and since he wanted somebody to shoot with, he purchased mine. With, obviously I was going to pay him back because it was a $700 purchase. Unfortunately, later that year, my brother was killed trying to stop a couple psychopaths, which that story you also know. And at the time of buying the guns, we had the blue card system, which is basically registration. All guns had to be registered because in their mind, the gun registration was required, so when criminals broke the law, they could be traced back to them because criminals register their guns. But yeah, whenever you purchased a gun back then, when registration was in effect, you put down next of kin. So if something happened to you, the gun went to whoever you put down. And since he put me down, that's why I have his Glock 19. I mean, it's pointless to have a 19 and the 23 because the 23 can be converted into a 9mm, which is what the Glock 19 is, a 9mm handgun. So unfortunately, after we both qualified for our CCWs, I lost my brother later that year. No, actually, alright, a couple years later, I lost him in 2014. I'm sorry, I'm exhausted. I got no sleep last night. I promised this video after I hit 600 subscribers, and I'm watching you. I see the number hasn't changed, which is good. But that's actually how I got into guns. My brother purchased his, and ever since he purchased his, we always kept going to the gun store and just looking around at the different firearms. Looking at the ones we wanted but couldn't afford. And there are some nice ones out there. Now, I personally own 4 altogether because I have gotten others since then. But my brother wanting to get a gun first is how I got into it. And he got a gun first because of the whole end of the world that was supposed to happen in 2012. He got it because just in case stupid people decided to riot and loot. That was his reason for getting it. Now, you may think that's paranoia or whatever. I mean, he got the gun for that reason, but he didn't go stupid about it. He just carried it everywhere like you would carry a gun everywhere for self-defense or for protection. And once I also had the firearm, I started getting comfortable carrying it everywhere. And here it's normal for I can't talk. This video is gonna suck. I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to get through this, I really am. But it's hard to talk about a story that involves a sibling that you were close to that you lost. Those conversations get a little bit difficult. I mean, it's been some time, but the pain is still there. Because we bonded over this. I mean, we got along great, but this is something we always did together. We always went to the range together. We always managed to scrape together money and buy ammunition so we could go out and do this. It was just something we did. And now I really don't have any way to do that with because the rest of my family really isn't into it. So have no one to shoot with anymore. And when I go to the range by myself, it's just not the same. I go there, I shoot at my targets, I go home. I know, sad story, but shit happens. But it's what happens when you lose somebody. And I'm sure there will be a lot of jump cuts in this. How long has this been recording for? Wow, I'm going to be cutting out a lot of shit because at this moment it's at 11 minutes. But yes, I got into guns because my brother purchased his gun and he wanted somebody to shoot with without going through all his ammo, so he bought me a gun so he'd have somebody to shoot with. And he also regretted buying his Glock 19 and wished he had bought a Glock 23 because it can be converted. So he wished he had bought the same gun I did. But yeah, I got into it because my brother bought the gun and wanted somebody to shoot with, so he bought me one as well. Now, I'm not sure how well you guys get along with your siblings, but how many are going to spend almost $1,000 just to share a hobby with you? Anyways, that's my sad, pathetic story of how I got into firearms. Yes, the video you've been waiting for, the one you voted on, the one you pushed me over 600 subscribers for, and that's how I got into guns. Anyways, yeah, well, you all have a great day. There will be more videos to come because I do have other video ideas. I just had to get this one out of the way because people were expecting it. And my sub count stayed. Yay! Of course, it's gonna drop the second I upload this, but I'm not gonna throw a fit because YouTube just doesn't care. And it will most likely lose monetization or limited ads roughly 3 seconds after I upload it. That will not be shocking. Tell your friends about the video, etc. Maybe share it to somebody else who possibly isn't subscribed to me. And one other thing before I forget, I am still running a GoFundMe for Tranime Girl. It's about $370 short of being full. So I would really appreciate it if you would share that. Even if a bunch of people just donated $5, we could fill this thing up. So please help me make that happen for her, okay? She will be eternally grateful. She'll be able to get her van fixed, be able to move on to her next destination, and get back on her feet. I want this to be able to happen for her, okay? Anyways, you all have a great day. Hopefully by the time I'm done editing this, it won't be this goddamn long.
You cannot invade the mainland United States. There would be a rifle behind every blade of grass. Isoroku Yamamoto.
Thank you for watching yet another video from Running Guns News. If this is your first time on my channel, please hit that subscribe button and maybe even the like button. Feel free to share my channel and videos. If you would like to show your support to my channel and gun rights in general, you may make a one-time donation via the Streamlabs link in the description, or even be a Patreon supporter. Don't forget the social media links: Facebook, Twitter, mine's Instagram, Gun Free Zones Kill, and this is not an assault rifle.